So this is what 600 points of Austrians looks like. Well, it does if you absolutely ramp up the bonuses to the max. We've got 3 brigades here, 2 brigades of infantry and 1 brigade of cavalry. We've got the 1st brigade, that's the one in the middle. So that contains 3 large regiments of line infantry and a regular or large unit of Jaegers? Regular unit of Jaegers. And they also have some attached battery of artillery as well. To their right, as we look at it, to their left, we've got a smaller brigade, and that's of 3 line battalions and 1 battery of artillery. And then over here on the left, we've got 2 regiments of Austrian heavy cavalry. They look scarily like cuirassiers to me, and they will be large units as well. So there, I am not looking forward to those. So that's General Dan's Austrian army. I believe that's the whole of Dan's current Austrian army, is that right? So it is. He's nodding furiously at me. He's done an excellent job on those. I've taken some stills, so I'll pop those up, and we will have a look at the French. Sorry, no, not the French. The French aren't here today. Well, some cavalry are. We'll have a look at the Bavarians. So here we are with 600-ish, slightly less than that, point of Bavarians. Apologies for saying French earlier on. I'm just so used to it. I should have realised I've swapped out my croissants for some pretzels this time. And we've got 5 battalions of infantry. They are divided into a brigade of 2 and a brigade of 3 battalions. And they've also got some assistance from their German-speaking cousins, the Swiss. That's purely because I didn't have enough points on just to make up Bavarians. I will be using the rules for Bavarians for these guys, but they will be veterans, so that's the mistake. Oh, they've also got Tough Fighter as well, so that's going to be their difference, basically. Each of my infantry brigades, each of my Bavarian infantry brigades is supported by a battery of artillery, and then to support the entire formation, I've got 3 units of French hussars, and I should have said the brigade of 3 infantry units also has an attached regiment of chevaliers. So they will be my 1st brigade on, and then we'll take it from there. So that's the Bavarian army. It's brand new to the channel. I've only just finished basing it this morning. So as you can see, some of the edges of the bases aren't quite done yet. But I'll take some stills, and then we will get on to deployment. Welcome to Bavaria 1809, as the Austrians move into the newly declared Kingdom of Bavaria, and they start the 1809 Danube campaign. Here on the right, just setting up his troops as we look at him, is General Dan. This is his 1st brigade, his advance guard, and that currently consists of 3 battalions of line infantry and some Jaegers. And then on the left of the battlefield, just off the screen here, we can see 2 battalions of Bavarians and some chevaliers. They are 3/4, I should say, of my advanced brigade. I'll be bringing hopefully the 3rd unit on my first successful advance roll. I have to make a confession here. We have currently re-racked the game because General Dan won the last game in the first turn. So we've had a little bit of a move around of the terrain, and hopefully this one will be a little bit more of an exciting battle for you. So we are going to crack on as we were before. General Dan has won the roll-off to see who goes first. What we did is we rolled 2 dice and added our strategy rating. So let's go with General Dan's turn 1. Now we're going to try and do this as much of the turn as possible. I might pause the video as we move the troops, because that's kind of the least interesting part of it, really. But we're going to have the dice rolling box. I'm going to put it here so that we can roll the dice in the view of the camera. So I'm just going to move the dice box back a little bit. There we go. General Dan's only finding out about this as I mentioned it live. So General Dan is going to issue his 1st order. He's measuring for his Jaegers. This looks suspiciously upsetting for me. I should point out as well that all General Dan's commanders are strategy rating 8, and mine are strategy rating 7. As Napoleon said of Count Verda, I've made him a count, but even I cannot make him a general. So let's see, what's Dan's 1st order going to be?
The 2 units of line on the road are going to advance towards the bridge.
Okay, so the 2 units of line on the road are going to advance towards the bridge. An 11, that's a fail. Oh dear. This is very different from the last game, where it was the Bavarians who failed their first roll. So that's an underwhelming first turn for the Austrians. Let's see if the Bavarians can capitalise. I am brimming with confidence about this one. So my 3 battalions of Bavarian infantry are going to advance up the road, and hopefully the lead battalion will march onto the bridge. Let's see how that goes. I'm going to need to roll very low for this. That is very low. That is a 4. So normally I'm 7. I'm 8 because I'm in attack column, and I'm 9 because I'm on a road. So that's going to allow me to do 3 moves. So I'm going to be able to zip up the road, and then my lead battalion will be on the bridge. As I say, I'm going to pause it here just while I move the troops. So I've moved the 3 Bavarian battalions forward. Now it's the turn of the Bavarian Chevalier, a regiment which I'd forgotten I'd painted actually. So let's hope they can do something. Let's see. Now, General von Werder, Count von Werder, is up there with the Bavarian battalions. You can just see him in front of the wood. I'm going to take some close-ups at the end of the turn, so don't worry about that if you can't really see what's going on. But the Chevalier, they are going to be strategy rating 8, and I'm going to move those guys towards the village, hopefully. Let's see how it goes. That's a 7. I am strategy rating 7, so I get to move 1 move, which for cavalry is 18 inches. So I'm going to move those guys towards the village now. Yeah, man. This is a guest appearance from Alex from the award-winning Storm of Steel YouTube channel. He's currently playing Chain of Command, which I'll be hopefully having an intro with him next week. So.
Looks great. What battle is it?
It's just about this one. Yeah, it's just an 1809 Austrian versus Bavarian clash. Yeah, it doesn't look as good as your game though. You know, that jungle trail, that sort of plantation look you've got going, love it. Absolutely brilliant. It absolutely is. I think he should do. Yeah. So, I'm trying to get him to do one next week. You might have a guest spot from Storm of Steel on the channel.
Well, yeah. If you want to do it next week.
Oh, there you go. See, you heard it here first. Okay, so look out for that next week. Now I'm going to try and order my artillery. Now, something that I forgot to do is order them earlier on, which I should have done. Count Werder now is in a cool-looking place. He looks awesome, but he's miles away from his artillery. So I'm going to try and move them 2 moves up the road and form up at the edge of the cornfield. Let's see if I can manage that. So I rolled a 9, which is way over his strategy rating, so that's a no-go for the artillery. I always forget the artillery, I'm terrible with it. For a French player, you'd think I'd be better with artillery, wouldn't you? But I'm not, I'm awful. So that's the end of my turn. So I'm going to do a quick flyby close-up of the table, and then we'll get ready for turn 2 and the revenge of the Austrians. So here we go into the Austrian turn 2. General Dan is going to issue his order.
Same again, the 2 battalions of mine on the road will advance towards the bridge.
If you could roll the same again, I'd much appreciate it. Oh, a 10. Now, it is a move. Now, the reason it's a move is his strategy rating is 8. He's on the road, so he gets to add 1 to that, and he's also in column of attack, so he gets to add another 1. So he gets a single move, and he gets to the crossroads. The Austrian infantry, presumably the officer who speaks German, has told the right-hand marker to right turn. Unfortunately, the right-hand marker speaks Serbian, so he's had to ask the Croatian corporal to translate for him. So that's why they've got a bit jammed up there. But it is a successful order, so Dan gets to have his second order, and I think he's probably going to order his lone battalion of line infantry, but let's see.
The lone battalion is going to advance. So it's going to advance kind of fill in this gap.
Okay, yeah, that sounds reasonable to me.
With wheel round a little bit.
Yeah, okay. Oh, he's going for the old Sam McQuillan one at a time dice rolling technique. And it works out for him. He's rolled a 7, so he actually gets to move twice there if he wanted to, but he did. Yep, so he's gone one in a little bit there, but that's fine. You know, we allow him to do that. Now he's got 2 more units in that brigade to order. I should say that we're first brigades only for the first 3 turns. Then we're going to roll for our 2nd brigade. And then on the 5th turn, we're going to roll for our 3rd brigade. So the remaining 2 units, he's got his artillery and his Jaegers. He's actually thought about his artillery, unlike me. So.
Artillery.
Yep.
The Jaegers are going to advance into the wood to disrupt that wood there.
Okay. A 4, that's a great roll. I'm going to pause it while Dan does this. And we'll probably come back after he's rolled for his artillery as well. So Dan successfully moved the Jaegers into the forest, and the artillery is behind the woods. You can just see one of them poking out the back on the screen now. So, okay, so now we are going to roll for the Bavarians, and General Werder is going to command the 1st Battalion to... I don't know what he's going to do, actually. I think he's going to order the 1st Battalion to occupy the bridge. Now, we've decided that troops fighting on the bridge are going to only attack with half attacks, and they cannot be supported. So if you think of the actions in the Napoleonic War where bridges were quite important, so the bridge of Arcola would be a really good example, then the Austrians, who were not particularly good at that era, managed to hold it against the revolutionary French, just because you can only get so many men wide on the bridge. So we're going to do that. General Werder is going to order his troops onto the bridge. Let's see how this goes. He's rolled a 4, so they get to move onto the bridge. I'll move them on there in a second. He's also going to order the 2 battalions behind them to flank the bridge on either side and form line. So let's see how that one goes. This is the one where I need the low roll. It's a 3! That's a great roll. So I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to move those 3 battalions. So I've moved the infantry units up there. They're a little bit difficult to see because they're lining the banks of the river. But don't worry, I'll do another flyby at the end of the turn and we'll see those. I'm now going to order my Chevalier. They are going to go into the village and hopefully cross the ford. So let's see how that goes. They rolled a 3 as well. This is some great command rolling. I need these for my cannons though. I'm not going to roll like anywhere near low enough for my cannons. But let's see how those guys go. Now they are strategy rating 7. They're quite a long way away from the commander, but they have the Marauder special rule, so they get to ignore any negative modifiers for being away from the commander. So let's move those guys forward. I did say I was going to move them over the ford, and they go 18 inches per move. So they can go...
To explore new planets and
Oh, this is what's going to happen behind. Here we go. Sorry for the back of my head there. Now they are facing off against some Jaegers who are in a wood, so there's not a huge amount they're going to be able to do about that. Let's roll, see if I can get my artillery on the board. I'm going to need to roll very, very low here. I don't even know how low. Let's see what I roll and see if I have to work it out. I rolled an 8, so I definitely don't need to work that one out. I think it was probably around about the 3 or 4 mark. So that's the end of my turn. Let's see if any of my troops are in range. Now, I've all got mixed rifle formations, as someone pointed out in the last video. Even the line regiments had a rifle. So let's see if I can get 1 dice in range at 24 inches. Let's have a look. No, they're just out, so that's going to be the end of my turn 2. I'm going to move into Austrian turn 3. Let's see if Dan can finally get his troops in motion. I should point out as well that it's only for fair that he did not have this problem in our first game, which we had to end after turn 1. So let's see if Dan's command can find their mojo. So here's the Chevalier at the ford. We're just doing a quick flyby. General Dan's doing some pre-measuring. I don't know, what a filthy monkey he is. So we've got 2 battalions in line across the river there. We've got one that's taken up occupation of the bridge. And over here on the crossroads, the Croatian sergeant who's finally translating back into German from his Hungarian corporal about what direction the Bavarians are in. What are the Jaegers going to do? They're quite safe in that wood. General Dan, though, sometimes he does like to get his guys out and get charged by cavalry. Let's hope he does that today. But I'm not betting on it. Let's see how it goes on Austrian turn 3. He's still pre-measuring. The man can't get enough of it. He's just crazy for it. He's like an Austrian general and Viennese Wales. He just can't give him up. So what's the order going to be, Dan?
First order will be battalion.
Okay.
Right. Advancing once and forming line this side of the road.
Okay. An 8. Now he's strategy rating 8, and he is in column of attack, so that counts as a 9. So he gets 1 move. Now the order that he gave his orders in is important here. He said they were going to move forward once and then form line. So because he only gets to do 1 move, they move forward 1 move, which is not necessarily the end of the world, to be honest. They'll still get their bonus save, and I'm not really in a position that I can charge them. So it's not the end of the world. I've seen worse, let's put it that way.
Because it's too much, that's just going to break the game.
He's rather blocked himself off from moving those rear columns forward, although it might lead to a change of tactics, which may not necessarily be the worst thing in the world, actually.
Sorry.
Okay. She's going to move the 2 battalions forward. They're going to form like a long line of columns of attack. Not a terrible choice in my idea. So that's a 6, which is easily low enough to do it. He's going to be able to move those guys forward. That's a train going past here, in case you can hear a rumbling. We are at the Railway Workers and Union Club, so we're right next to the train station. So that's why you can occasionally hear the rumbling going past. Okay. That's a 7, so that's 1 move for the artillery. Now, they're not going to be able to unlimber this turn, but if General Dan puts them next to each other, then at least we can sort them out next turn. I'm sure they'll manage to unlimber next turn. They're getting scarily close, these old Austrians. Are their columns going to open fire? So he's got at least 1 in range. Okay, so he's going to roll 1 dice because he's in column. He rolls a 1. That means they're out of ammunition. No, it doesn't mean they're out of ammunition. A bit of a necromunda rule there. He's also going to have a cheeky shot at the Chevalier. I forgot what they were called then. So he needs a 4 to hit them. A 3, no good. He's got his Jaegers in the woods next to him. And they're a little bit further away, but they are, of course, armed with rifles, so they're very much in range. And they also have the sharpshooter special rule. So they need to hit on a 4+, but if they miss, then they get a re-roll for at least 1 of those dice. And they're going to roll 3 dice. So that's 2 hits, including a disorder, and a re-roll of the miss. So for 2 hits. So let's see if we can save those on a 4+. So I save 1 goes through, and the unit is disordered. So the markers that we're placing on here are really, really nice. They're really good quality plastic ones. They come from Vital Ground Scenics. They're really nice. They're like a thick plastic, almost like like you would use on a placard. So they're really nice, actually. Okay, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with those guys next turn, but we'll have to see. Is there any more for any more turn? It's turn 3, so you can roll for your next brigade, which you probably should have done before we fired, really, shouldn't we? But it doesn't make a huge amount of difference. It didn't look like it, but I paused it then. That was another 3/4 of an hour of pre-measuring. Okay, so I'm going to roll to. Well, I'm going to pop some smoke on the front of the units, and then I'm going to fire back with my mighty Austrian musketeers and riflemen. So I'm just going to pause the video briefly, and we will pop into my turn 3. Well, I thought, you know, just for fun, I'll roll for the artillery. Let's see how it goes. So I rolled the dice, and let me get my finger in front of the lens, as all professionals do. Let me show you what I rolled. A double 1. So the cannons steam up the battlefield. Obviously, hearing the Austrian musketry, they're like, they need us. But in German, obviously, and not in some sort of Naruto voice. But yes, so the Bavarian artillery, which today looks a lot like French artillery, is screaming up the road. Now, they're normally a 7. They're on the road, so they are an 8. However, they are 3 bands away from their commander, so they're going to be down to a 5. But luckily, a double 1 gives me 3 moves, so I'm going to move those guys 36 inches up the road, and we'll take it from there. So that's it for the artillery. Now, I'm going to do a move with the Chevalier, which might be a little bit controversial, but they are going to do a disordered retreat. So that means they get to move 1 turn, but they get a second disordered marker. So I'm going to move those guys back 18 inches. Join the priesthood, the monkhood. So I've moved those guys back and popped a second disordered marker on there. Now that means that, to be honest, I probably shouldn't have sent them over the ford. I wasn't expecting General Dan to come this way, but rather than just leave them there to be shot up, I've moved them back, and they can perhaps make a threat in the later turns. So my 2 Bavarian units, well, certainly one of them's in range. Let me have a check. They're within 18. They're within 18. They're within 18. They're not. So the units that are within 18 can fire at their full effect, not the unit on the bridge though. I'm only going to use 1 dice for those guys because we said that they only fight with half effect. I'm going to round down. I don't know if Dan's going to round down as well, but I think that will be fair. The battalion on the far side of the bridge, they're only going to have their in range for their riflemen, so they're only going to have 1 shot. I'm going to roll them all together because they're firing at the same target. So I need to find some dice. I've got 3 for the line battalion, and then 1 each for the ones on the bridge and to the far side of the bridge. So 5 dice here. I need 4s to hit, and I get 0 hits. There you go. That's what I rolled. But that more than makes up for the double 1 to bring the artillery in. So I can't really complain. That's the end of my turn. So I'm going to remove 1 of the disordered markers from my cavalry. And that's going to be the end of the turn. I'm going to do a quick flyby. I'm going to pop some smoke down for my Bavarians, although it looked like they all had wet powder to me. But we'll see how it goes on Austrian turn 4. And remember, Dan, you need to start rolling for your reserve brigade on this turn. So, General Dan's just considering what to do. He's got his main body, so that's 3 battalions of infantry and another battery of artillery. He's going to move them on. We originally played across the table, and that was the game that only lasted 2 turns. So now we've switched it to playing long ways. And I think that actually might disadvantage Dan a little more, because he's got so many men. It's going to be difficult to bring his weight of numbers to bear, especially now I've got to line the banks of the river. But let's see how it goes. General Dan's paid the extra to upgrade all his commanders to strategy rating 8, so he's really going to have to get the most out of that extra 25 points he spent to make the difference, really, because it takes him from, on average, only having 1 move to an average of having 2, so it makes his troops a lot more versatile. Remember, we spoke in the video last week about the Bavarians. They lack initiative, so I'm lucky that I've managed to get them into quite a defensive position early on. I'm going to hopefully bring up some more battalions later, and if these frontline battalions get beaten back, I think it's going to be tough for those reserve battalions to win back the territory. But don't tell General Dan this. It looks like he's formulating a plan. Give me an order, Dan.
The battalion on the road is going to move and charge the bridge.
Okay, so the battalion on the road is going to charge the bridge defenders. Oh, not on a 10, they're not. He gets one move. So they're going to move forward. They obviously fancy giving him a bit more close-range firepower before they go in. To be honest, I'm not massively thrilled about this, because he's going to get 2 dice to shoot at me, and I'm not going to be in column. I think one of the problems with being on a bridge is it tightly packs you as a target, but doesn't give you the benefits of being in column. So we're going to say that they get no cover bonuses, but they also don't get their column bonus either. Being on the bridge, I think it's going to be, as Tom Cruise would say, a risky business.
This battalion
Okay.
is going to move once forwards and form line.
Okay. General Dan and his forming of line, it's come to this already. I don't know. I keep telling him that they don't, in the Napoleonic period, they have spears that can fire ash shots, but he never believes me. So I'm just going to pause the video while he sorts these guys out. So the 3rd Battalion is going to advance towards the ford. On a 7 they absolutely are. See, I tried to get General Dan to do his breakdown of his army at the beginning, and he was super shy, he didn't want to do it. And now he's like desperate to be on camera, or in an audio capacity, bless him. So, so he's moved forward there, and that's, well, it looks like the Austrians are about to take the ford, which is concerning for the Bavarians. I'm not going to pretend that I was going to bring the reinforcements on this road. I was going to bring them on the far road, so that's where I will bring them on in my turn. The 3rd, or the Brigade of Hussars, then they may come on the other road. But the Bavarians, now they were going to come on the main road, so I should be honest with General Dan. Okay, so the Jaegers are going to need at least 2 moves for that. They're going to get 1 move maybe. How far away from the General are they? Okay, so unfortunately he's -1, which means that the 8 is not quite enough to order the Jaegers into the, well, out of the woods really. So, you know, they're obviously in there and they've found some rabbits or something, and they're doing Jaegery things. So unfortunately that's a failed order from the General, so he can't order the artillery to unlimber. He does, however, have another brigade to come on. Well, what's the order for that brigade then?
I'm going to come on the road.
Yep. So they're going to move, sorry, they're going to move along the road. Yep. Yep.
I get 3 moves then.
Cool. Yep, no, that sounds good to me. So they're going to be effectively strategy rating 10 because they're in column on a road. Let's see what he rolls. Oh, it's an 11. Oh, you hate to see it. They do not come onto the board. That's what the Spanish army would call El Oof, that one. But Dan, he is going to do some shooty shoot now. So he's got 1 shot from the column that's on the ford. Let me just get on the old dice thing here. Oh, I should have put it down. He's disordered them again. What's that about? Let's see if I can save on a 4+. No, obviously not. So they take another casualty and they remain disordered. Oh dear. Now, I should say that, as I mentioned earlier on, I forgot that I'd actually painted this regiment of cavalry. So this is why they're paying me back for my inattention. So we've got some shooting from the line. Okay, so he's got 2 dice here. Now, he's got 1 because he's in column of attack. He gets another due to the Austrian special rule, where it's short range, they get an extra dice. Now, he's hit me on a 3+ here. So he gets 1 hit. And because I'm on the bridge, I'm not in column, I save on a 4+. Which I pass. So, lucky there, I get away with it.
In the line, the one that's in line.
Yep. Yep, that's fine.
I'm not in a complete line.
No, you are. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
The 4th being large.
Yep, so it's a large unit, so they roll 4 dice. These guys, this is going to hurt for the Bavarians, I feel. Oh, is it ever? 4 hits, including disorder. Literally couldn't have gone better. Let's see if I can roll any save. I'm saving on a 4+. So 3 of those go through. So that unit is now disordered and shaken. If it takes any more casualties, it's going to have to take tests at a negative. As it is, because it's shaken whilst disordered, it is actually going to have to take a test now. It's going to be at -1 for being disordered. So let's see how I roll. On these, higher is better. Let's see how it goes. A 9, so that is -1 because I'm disordered. So it goes down to an 8. That battalion is fine. They stand their ground. I say fine. I'm not feeling it myself for them. But let's see how it goes next turn. I believe that's it for the Austrians. Is that everything? So now we move into Bavarian turn 4. Now the only movement I'm going to do is I'm going to try and unlimber my artillery. I'm going to try and move my artillery through to the far corner of the wheat field. To here. And then I'm going to try and unlimber them. So that'll be 2 moves. Now I'm on the road, so I'm strategy rating 8. I need a 6 or less to get 2 moves. I roll a 4. Fantastic. So I move and unlimber, but I am foot artillery, so I cannot fire this turn. Not too bad at all. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm also going to order the the brigade of 2 battalions of Bavarians on, and they are going to be in front of the brigade of 2 battalions of Swiss. So if the Bavarians can't come on, then they're going to block the road and not going to be able to roll for the Swiss. So let's hope the Bavarians come on. They're in column of attack and they're on a road, so I need a 9 or less. I roll a double 6, a blunder. So, what is the blunder? This is going to be a little bit sort of esoteric because they're not on the board. Let's see what I roll. It's a 4. So looking on the blunder table here. Here we are. A 4 is moved to the right. And that will actually take them off the road. But I'm going to say, what we'll say instead is that means it's a failed order. I can't roll for the Swiss this turn. I think that would probably be fair enough. So now we're going to do some shooting. Now I'm going to shoot with my battalion that is here in line. This one. Now they are normally hitting on a 4 with 3 dice. But it's -1 for being shaken, -1 for being disordered. You'll notice I didn't try and rally a casualty off them. And that's because if I try and do that, my general has to join the unit, and I don't fancy that unit's chances of surviving another turn, so I'd rather not risk the general as well. So they're going to need 6s to hit. I'm fishing for a 6 anyway, really, because I'm trying to get that disorder. Let's see how it goes. Let's hold it up. No hits there. Shocking. The Bavarian shooting has been appalling. This battle is clearly taking place in October, is all I can say. So, the troops on the bridge, they're at point-blank range. They are hitting on a 3, hopefully. They get a 5, which at last is a hit from the Bavarians. It's not a disorder, though. Let's see if General Dan can save it on a 3+. He can, of course he can. And I'm going to fire 1 rifle shot from the unit that's lining the river. So they're going to fire 1 rifle shot, and they're going to fire at the unit in column as well. For a 3, so that's going to be a miss, because they aren't at point-blank range. So that's it from the Bavarians. A pretty poor turn. A great turn from the Austrians, although they didn't bring their reserves on. So let's have a quick flyby. Here we go. Let me just take it out the cradle. Stick my finger in front of the lens again. That's clearly going to be the signal that we're doing a flyby. So we've got the Austrians just about to cross the ford here. They are absolutely flensing this unit of Chevalier. I should take off their second disordered marker, so I shall do that. This unit of Bavarians in the centre, they are in a severe amount of trouble. I would not want to be those guys. We've got Austrians opposite them, completely undamaged. One of them about to assault the bridge. They can do that on initiative, so Dan doesn't even need to roll for that one. And let's see how it goes. We've got some artillery, French artillery at least supporting them. But let's see how the Austrians do in their next turn. Okay, so here we are with Austrian turn 5. So we're looking now at initiative moves. Now we talked about this last weekend. If you are within 12 inches of an enemy unit, you can make 1 move automatically. You don't need to roll for it. You can do it straight away, but it's only 1 move. So General Dan is going to initiative charge the guys on the bridge. So that's fairly reasonable. The unit that's next to the ford, they would need 2 moves to occupy the buildings that's on the far side of the ford. They are within 12 of that battalion in line, so they can initiative move. But if General Dan wants to occupy the buildings this turn, he's going to have to roll for it. He's also more than 12 inches away from his general, so he's going to have to -1 from his strategy rating as well with those guys. He's thinking about it. He's going to move and try and occupy the building. So he needs 2 moves for this. And 9. He only gets the 1 move for that one, which takes him very much in front of my Chevalier. He'd better hope that he disorders and or shakes them this turn, or they might be in a little bit of trouble. I would say that if the Chevalier do charge, they're going to be down the streets, so they're not going to be able to bring their full weight to bear. So. That's true, yeah. Yep.
Going to move and occupy the building.
Okay. Big talk from the Jaeger. They are within 12 of the general, maybe?
They are within 12, but it's still...
But, oh yes, it is, because they're not on the roads, of course. Yeah. So, unlucky for the Jaeger, they are very, very much enjoying being in that wood. The absent brigade.
The absent brigade.
Yep.
Are going to advance along the road.
Okay, yep. There we go, they love it. So with a 5, they clearly march onto the road here, the top right hand of the screen. So I'm going to pause it while General Dan moves his troops on, and then we'll come back after they've been deployed. So I've actually zoomed in a little bit on where the action is taking place. General Dan has initiative moved his column into the attack, which you can see on the left-hand side of the screen there, and he's brought his dudes on. They've come to the crossroads, and this officer and his right-hand marker, they clearly both speak German, because they've managed to find the right road to the bridge. So that's a really good bonus for Dan there. So now we're doing some shooting. Okay, so let's focus on the shooty box. So who's shooting first? So the battalion that's on the fort are shooting at the Chevalier. 1 shot is a 5, it's a hit. It's not the disorder. Let's see if I can save it. A 2, no I can't. Now that's crucial, because that means that unit is now shaken. It means that they can't charge that unit in their turn. So that's very, very bad for those Chevaliers. Don't forget you've painted troops, guys, because they will punish you for it. That's all I can say. Yeah. So now we've gone to the centre, over here. That's Austrian line that's just peeking out from behind that building. They're blasting away at the Bavarians in front of them. See what General Dan rolls. 2 hits and no disorder. That's not so bad this turn. I should have taken the disorder off of my turn, shouldn't I? Thank you, Dan. I'm just checking to see if I... no, right, okay, that's fine. So, 2 hits, is that Dan? So 2 saving throws of 4+. I need to make both of these, really. I made 1, so I've got 1 excess casualty, and that means it's a morale test on them. We're not going to do that now. We're going to do that at the end of shooting. So what I'll do is I'll pop 2 dice behind them, just to remind ourselves they need to take a test. That is the end of the Austrian shooting. There you go, that was quick, wasn't it? So let's take that morale test now. And now remember, higher is better. Let's see how this goes. I'm going to be at -1 to this, because I have 1 excess casualty. So, let's see. I've rolled a 9, which, looking on the shooting morale table, is a carry on fighting. That's what we like to see. So now we're on to the combat, which is taking part on the bridge. Now, we said half attacks here. General Dan has a large battalion, so he rolls 4 dice. Oh, actually, I didn't do my closing fire, did I? I forgot about that. Let's see if we can get a cheeky disorder going on. Let's see if the Bavarians can actually hit. That would be a nice change. So they're closing fire, so they're hitting on a 3+. They get a... They get a one. They get a 1, so no good there. So thank you for dispatching of that dice for me, Dan. So Dan's going to roll his 4 attacks now. He's hitting me on a 3+ for charging.
I do have Tough Fighter.
He got Tough Fighter, so he re-rolls one of his misses for 4 hits. So the one that you couldn't see there was a 5. So he's got 4 hits. I'm saving on a 4+. Oh dear, 3 of those go through. So that unit is also now shaken. I do get my attacks back, and I get 3 attacks back. I'm hitting on 4s because I'm not charging. So I've got 1 hit. It's a 6, which normally would be a disorder, but in combat it doesn't really make any difference. Combat's so sort of disordered anyway. So you've got 1 save of a 4+, which he makes also on a 6. So who won the combat? Well, we're not counting supports. Dan caused 3 casualties on me. I caused no casualties in return, so I very much lost that combat. So it's a morale test for me. Higher is better. I've rolled a 9 again. Oh, where are we? There we are. So I've rolled a 9 again. The unit carries on fighting. I don't really fancy their chances in my turn, now I have to say. But that's the end of the Austrian turn 5. Yes, that's the end of the Austrian turn 5. Now we're going to move into the Bavarian turn 5. So Dan correctly has pointed out there that that is now a broken brigade. Now normally broken brigades don't allow you to take orders, but we are going to allow them to take a rally order because otherwise it just gets a bit poo. Now my battalion that's on the far side of the river, so that's those guys over there, they are within 12 of the enemy, so normally I could make an initiative with them. I would think about moving them over the river to look to flank the unit that's charged the unit on the bridge. But because they are lacking initiative, I cannot do that. So instead, my General Verda, he is going to try and rally the unit. It is currently shaken in the middle of the battlefield. He's going to need a 7 or less to succeed in this. Let's see how he goes. It's an 8, so no good. I should have paid those extra 25 points. He still joins the unit, unfortunately, but they do not rally. Dan's super keen to make him join the unit there because he thinks he's going to run off next turn. I'm going to try and bring on my brigade of Swiss. Let's see if they can come on. They are going to need a 9 or less. Oh, luckily it's a 9, so they come on 1 move. I'm going to pause the video while I move them. But I'm also, well, before I pause the video, I roll for the Bavarians who blundered last turn. They roll an 8. I'm not going to bring them on because I think that's as punishment for their blunder last turn. So it would just be the Swiss. Okay, so that's the end of the Bavarian movement. We're going to do some shooting now. These Bavarians absolutely need to up their game. In fact, sorry, I say that's the end of the movement. Actually, no, sorry, yes, that is the end of the movement. So the Bavarians are going to need to do some shooting now. So let's hope they've got their shooting boots on, because they have been shocking so far. So the battalion that's going to fire the troops opposite them, they are shaken, so they're going to need 5 to hit. Let's see how this goes. I've rolled 2 1s and a 6, so luckily I've got the disorder. That's the one that I'm after. Can Dan save that hit? I'm sure he can. Oh, it goes through. So the mightiest of oak trees, from the smallest acorns grow. So hopefully this is going to be a start of something good. I very much doubt it, by the way. But that's 1 on them, and that's good. Now we're going to move to the combat that's on the bridge. So, Dan, this is one of the things I really, really like about Black Powder. It's not necessarily normally about that shock of impact. It's more about the building of the pressure. Now, those Austrians, they caused 3 casualties on me last turn. So they won the combat. They're hitting me on 3s with 4 dice. Which is just as well. Yeah, Tough Fighter again. He's got 4 hits on me with his Tough Fighter. 2 of them are 3, so it's just as well. He is hitting me on 3. I save these on a 4+. I saved 2, so that's average. It means I've now got 2 excess casualties. It also means that we need to inflict 3 casualties on the Austrians when I'm hitting him on a 5 and he's saving on a 3. So it's very unlikely. Let's see how it goes. Now is the time, yeah. Oh, only 1 hits there. So Dan rolls his 1 save at 3+. It does go through. but I still think it's going to be a bad day to be a Bavarian. They've got 2 excess casualties. They're minusing 2 from this roll. After I've minused my 2, a 7 or more is good. Anything less than that is not so good. A 4 or less is the worst possible result. It's a 3 on the dice. I minus 2 from that, so it's down to 1. That means that the unit completely flees. And this is like, as I say, this is where I really like Black Powder. It means that the pressure builds and then those units break. So Dan very actively removing my troops for me. Cheers, Dan. With a big smile on his face. And that's going to be the end of the Bavarian turn 5. We're going to move on to Austrian turn 6 very shortly, after Dan's finished removing all my... So not much has changed really this turn, but there's been a crucial change in that the Austrians now take the bridge. They've also got massive numbers of reinforcements here. It's looking a lot less friendly for the Bavarians. There's a huge gap with no units in there. Let's hope that I can maybe move some units up in my next turn and perhaps use the elite Swiss to throw the Austrians off of their objective. So here we are with Austrian turn 6, and General Dan's got some initiative moves to do first, I think. So what are we doing, Dan?
We are going to charge
The cavalry. Okay, so obviously infantry charging cavalry didn't happen very often, but my guys are shaken, so my troops are going to withdraw 18 inches, and the Austrians are going to stand hanging around where the Austrian cavalry want to be. So let's move those back. Oh, sorry, they're Bavarian. Sorry, yes, they are Bavarian cavalry. I don't know what I'm talking about here. They are Bavarian cavalry. Thank you for pointing that out, Alan. The Bavarian cavalry are going to withdraw 18 inches, and then the Austrian infantry are going to stand around to get shot at by my cannons. Joking aside, though, that's a good move from Dan there. He's pushed the cavalry back. He's got himself a bit of breathing room. He can now reinforce the ford with maybe one of his other infantry battalions. Maybe this one up here that's facing it. And it means that it's going to be far more difficult for me to capture the ford. I'm going to have to destroy the unit in front of it and then the actual unit holding it. So, great move from General Dan there.
this battalion.
Yep.
It's going to form line across here.
Okay.
So
let's get the dice rolling tray in camera shot.
Yep.
An 11, no good.
I have got the general there.
Okay, so he's going to use his general reroll. Is he strategy 8 as well? Oh, he's an even worse general than the other guy. This is good Austrian behaviour here. So that's a 3. Those guys move one move, they left turn, and move one full move to the left. This is where this having all those different languages in your battalions comes to bite you in the bum. And he's blocked off his other battalion from reinforcing the ford. This could cost him massively when these 2 Swiss battalions leap through that field and smash that battalion that's in front of them. He said with absolutely no overconfidence whatsoever.
Jaeger.
Yep.
Are going to mark the wood
Yep.
and move to kind of take up positions as
In the
far
cornfield. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Oh, that's a very woolly order from General Dan there. If he'd rolled a double 1, they would have had to run across the ford and go 3 full moves. But luckily, he's rolled an 8 there. They only go 1 move, and they're going to be at the near edge of the cornfield. We decided that the unit that's now occupying the bridge, these guys here, they're going to operate as if they were a square. So they're going to be able to fire 1 dice in each direction. So they're going to be able to enfilade my 2 Bavarian units, which is going to be a little bit upsetting for them, I have to say. I don't think they're going to enjoy that very much. Especially as he's got the battalion in front of them to fire first. Now they are disordered, so they're going to be at -1 to hit, so that's nice, but let's see if it actually matters.
The artillery.
Oh, sorry, we've not even finished the moving yet, have we? Sorry, I thought we had.
They'll be on 5. They're
Okay.
more than 24 there.
That looks good to me. That is a 3. There we go. So that artillery definitely on limbers. They can't fire this turn because they're foot artillery. Only horse artillery can unlimber and fire in the same turn. But it's still not shoddy, I have to say. That's a good effort. What's next, Dan?
Now we're on.
Now we're on to shooting. All right, okay. Yep.
It's going to fire.
One shot at either of the two battalions.
One shot there, one shot.
Okay, so well, let's do the shots individually. So let's do the one at the shaping unit first. Now this is an enfilade, so if he misses, he's hitting me on a 3. He gets to re-roll. So yeah, that's fine. That's a hit. They save on a 4+, which they do not make. So that's going to be a morale test for them. We'll do that at the end of the shooting phase, though. Yeah. So he's going to fire the other way. Again, this is another enfilade. He's hit me on a 3 with a reroll. So he doesn't need the reroll. That's a 4. So they save it this time, so that's good. And at the artillery. Now he's hitting these guys on a 5 because they're effectively skirmishers. It's 2 anyway, so it's a miss. So he's got the hits, the excess casualty on the battalion, but I have a feeling they're about to get some more punishment from the battalion in front of them. They are at -1 to hit because they are disordered, so they hit me on 5. So there's no hits there, luckily. But it's a morale test at -1, so let's see. Then they roll a 3 this time, which at -1 takes them down to a 2. Doesn't really matter, even at +1, they would still explode. And they take the general with them, which is of great concern. Well, in fact, the battalion took no casualties, but the general was shot. So the general died. General Werder, you realise that the Battle of La Rothier is going to be completely different now in 5 years' time. I don't know. Rewriting history live on the channel. So General Werder's been killed. He does come back alive again, but he has -1 to his strategy rating. So he's now going to be a strategy rating 6 general. Oh dear. And I need to take that battalion off because they have gone. So I'm just going to pause the video while I do that, and then we'll be back. So we have an absolutely devastating destruction of Count Werder there. We move on to the Bavarian, turn 7, I think we're on? 6. My turn 6, yeah, here we go. So, I'm going to order the Swiss. They're going to barrel up the road, and they're going to charge the units holding the bridge with the 2nd Battalion in reserve. It's a big ask. I might not even be close enough to do it. Let me check, see if that's a legal order. Close enough to do it. Let me check, see if that's a legal order. Yep, no, I am within range. We need 3 moves for it, though. I am on the road, and I'm in column, so I get +2, so I'm strategy rating 9. I need 3 moves, so I need a 6 or less. Let's see if I can get this off. Oh, so close to 7, so they both move forward 2 moves.
So if you charge me, it'll be the same creature on the
Not a bad effort from the Swiss there, happy with that. Let's see if I can move on my let's see if I can move on my next Bavarian brigade, including some more artillery. They are going to move up to form up behind the Swiss. No, not a 10, they're not. So that's the end of them. You should probably be pointing your telescope at the enemy, shouldn't he? So I've spun him around for that. So that's the end of my movement. That was a terrible moving phase. I'm going to suggest that although they're potentially just in, the artillery are not going to fire at the unit on the road because I think they're probably out of their arc of fire. So I'm going to shoot them at the line in front of them. So at this range, which is just over half range, there's only 1 dice and I'm a -1 to hit. So I need a 5+ to hit that Austrian battalion. It's a 4. Oh, that extra range made all the difference. That's no good. So that's the end of my turn. it's really, really not looking good for the Bavarians at this point. So, oh, actually, no, sorry, I forgot to read the guys on the other side of the bridge, didn't I? They're going to fire up at the bridge. Now, because the Austrians are behind those stone walls, I'm going to suggest they're in hard cover. So I'm going to need a 6 normally, -2 because they're in hard cover. But I am at point blank range, so I get +1. So I need a 5 or more to hit. It's a 1. I don't know why I even bothered. So there you go, that's the end of the Bavarian turn 6. We're going to move into Austrian turn 7. I'm not going to do a flyby of that turn because not a huge amount has changed apart from that massive gap in the middle of the of the Bavarian line. But yes, so I'm going to leave it there and we're going to move on to Austrian turn 7. Now, I do think there may not be many more turns left in this game, to be honest, but let's see how it goes. Okay, so, oh, hang on. Okay, so here we go. Go on then.
The battalion in line
Yep.
is going to advance and up to this point.
Okay, so this is going to be 3 moves, this one. So let's see how far they get. A 10, that's no good. That's a failure, so his brigade commander can't issue any more commands this turn.
The other
Oh, General Dan, I can see the cogs whirring in his brain.
region CNC rules wanted per turn.
Oh, there was potential. Okay. So he gets 1 move from the Commander-in-Chief. So the Commander-in-Chief, he lets you re-roll 1 command per turn. And that's actually incredibly powerful. So I would suggest that, in fact, I may do a video on how we can maybe nerf that a little bit because it's surprisingly powerful. Doesn't necessarily sound like much, but actually in play, it's quite big. I just paused it there while Dan moved in front of the camera. So if there's a jump in the picture, you can see some more Austrians sprung up out of the ground, and that's why. How do you think I feel?
This battalion
Yep.
is going to advance 1 move and form line.
Okay. So a nice solid order from General Dan there. A 5, they absolutely managed that. Again, I'm going to pause it just while we sort this out. So a nice solid order from General Dan there. A 5, they absolutely managed that. Again, I'm going to pause it just while we sort this out. So he's moved his troops there, put them in line. He didn't put them on the line he said he would, because that would mask his artillery, but yeah, all right. So it's all on the video, they'll all see. This is why I only do the edited highlights normally. I think, well, you don't need to sell it to me. What's next then?
I'm going to order the battalion on the crossroads.
Yep.
To advance along the crossroads and pull up to support.
Yep, makes sense to me. Oh, a double 1, they're very keen to do that. I guess they're a lot more keen when they're not in the front line. I think I would be as well, to be honest. So they're forming up and they support that line. Again, this is really good play from Dan here, because what he's doing is he's reinforcing his line. If my Bavarian battalion crosses the river, they're giving the absolute teeth of a storm of fire. So there's very little point in doing that. In fact, to be honest, if anything, I should probably pull those Bavarians back in my turn.
And then the final battalion of our brigade is going to advance along the road to...
Okay.
If I get 3 moves, it'll be to stop all the effort.
Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, do they ever get 3 moves? So great rolling from Dan there. He rolled a 4, and that allows his troops to get onto the ford, and they take up a very, very strong position.
artillery is going to attempt to advance,
Okay.
and it's going to advance in line with
The other battery.
the other batteries, but with one movement on limbo.
Yeah, okay.
I'm at -2 because I'm.
Okay. Is he not the guy who failed his order earlier on?
No.
No, okay.
That's the.
Okay, that's cool. He's found.
That's the end.
Yeah, yeah. So that's it for Austrian moving. It was, I mean, again, pretty good. Dan's very much shored up his defensive position here. I think I'm going to maybe have one hurrah, and we'll see how it goes. Dan's going to try and bring his cavalry on now. They are strategy rating 7.
Straight forward from the road. One
Okay.
kind of take that position.
He's painted them, he wants to get them on the table. Oh, they come on, one move. So this is one of those maxims where, I can't remember who it was, I think it might have been Patton, or maybe someone else, who said that the key is to getting there the fastest with the mostest. Now I managed to get my troops to the bridge the fastest, but I definitely did not get there with the mostest. And that's where Dan has played really cannily, and he has very much pushed my guys back, and now he's basically his entire army is on the table. I have a brigade of French cavalry still to come on, and I've got a brigade of Bavarian infantry, but I've got to ask myself how useful will cavalry really be in this situation? This has become very much an infantry battle, and is 2 more battalions of Bavarians really going to swing the balance? Now I've got my 2 elite battalions approaching the bridge now, so it's not all lost yet. Let's see how it goes. Now, one of the things with the lacking initiative is you can still use it to issue a charge order. So my Swiss will be doing that in their turn. Remember, they're not really Swiss, they're Bavarians in red coats today. But they do have elite 5+, and they do have tough fighter. So they're certainly not terrible, that's for sure. Okay, Dan's moving his commanders for next turn, as if there's going to be a next turn, so that's very sweet of him. So, and now we're about to receive some Austrian shooting, I believe. So where are we starting then?
One pop shot now.
At the Chasseur, the Chevalier, yeah, why not? So 1 shot from those guys, it's a hit. Can the Chevalier save? Of course they can't. So that's going to be an excess casualty on them. Is there any more shooting at those guys? So I may as well do the morale roll now. So they're at -1 because they've got 1 excess casualty. I need to roll high, really. Oh dear, that's a 6. We -1 from that to a 5. So they retreat 2 moves and they become disordered. Now, I'll tell you right now, they are less than 2 moves away from the edge of the board. So those guys will be playing no more part in the battle. So it was only 1 shot, but against a severely damaged enemy unit, definitely worth doing. So good play there. Okay, so he's saying that around about half these lines in range. So they've got 4 shots normally, so we'll say 2. That's fair enough. They're going to need 4s to hit. No hits there.
We'll fire in the square.
Yep.
1 forwards and 1. Get maybe 2 shots from the line.
Okay, so he's saying that around about half these lines in range. So they've got 4 shots normally, so we'll say 2. That's fair enough. They're going to need 4s to hit. No hits there.
We'll fire in the square.
Yep.
1 forwards and 1 on the enfilade.
Okay, so let's do the enfilade then. So these get a re-roll if they miss. They're hitting on a 3 because they're at point blank range. So they hit on the re-roll with a 5, and it is not saved, so they take a casualty. Thank you, Dan. And now the one that's more important, really, the one that's on the Swiss. Oh, it's a 1. That's a miss. No enfilading there, so there's no re-roll. He's got his artillery at the back. They can fire. Now, they are going to be firing through the corn, so they're going to be at -1. He's also measuring for his infantry there as well.
So you have to get 3 because the M2 are
Okay, yep. So that's 2 hits there. And they're both saved.
the artillery within 24.
So that's 2 dice for the artillery. Now they are firing through the corn, so we're going to say they're at -1 to hit. So 2 dice hitting on 5s. That's a 6, which is the disorder. It's a -2 to their save, which they don't pass. I mean, they roll a 1 anyway. So they are now down to 2 hit points taken. They've only got 1 left. But the key thing is that the Swiss, they are still ready to rock and roll. They're going to be going. Dan's desperately looking for something to shoot at them. He's got nothing. He's coming up blank. He's like a gambler down to his last 50p because he knows that when the Swiss go in and it's Toblerones before breakfast, it's going to be a bad day to be an Austrian. I can feel it in my water already. Is it?
The way you roll.
Yeah, so yeah, with my dice rolling so far, it's not been great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to initiative charge with the battalion that's at the front. General Dan is going to do his closing fire. Now normally you would only roll 1 dice from a square. We're treating them as if they're in square. But because of the Austrian special rule, he gets a 2nd dice. And they're going to be at point blank range to hit me on a 3. So I've got that crucial disorder. Can I save these though? I need a 3+ to save them. I do save them, but I am disordered, so I'll be hitting them on 4s in the upcoming combat. That's a huge swing. Thank you, Dan. I'm also going to be moving my unit in support. Now, they're too far away to initiative move, so this is a bit risky. I'm going to have to roll to order those guys forward. And they have moved up in support. A 6 is more than enough to get them in support. So, yeah, thank you, Dan. So they just got there. Now, we are saying that with the bridge, you don't get support anyway, so it doesn't hugely matter. But they're there for moral support, shall we say. Now, my Bavarians, I would have initiative moved them if they were French, but they're not. I can't do that, so I'm going to have to try and order them back into the woods. So, let's see. Remember, I am only stretch rating 6 for their commander, and he has rolled an 11, so that's definitely not good enough for them. Because they're in a broken brigade, they can't advance anyway. So, I mean, I wanted to order them backwards anyway, but had I wanted to order to advance, I wouldn't have been able to do that. So that's the end of my moving. I'm going to do some shooting now. I've got my artillery. They're within 24 of the unit that's on the far side of the river, so 2 shots at them, hitting on 4s. Oh dear, 2 and a 1 even added together, I don't get a hit. Shocking. I don't want to bring on my hussars down now. So now we're going to go to the combat on the bridge. So Dan's got his half attacks. He's got 4 attacks, and he's hitting me on a 4+. No, go on, Dan. So he gets 1 hit on the Swiss. Oh yeah, he got to 5, sorry. So 2 hits there. They save on a 3+. Oh, I take a hit. I've got 3 attacks back. I am also a tough fighter, and I'm hitting him on a 4 due to that disordered marker. So 3 hits. I don't even need my tough fighter. What a waste of points that was. And 2 of those go through. Now we're not allowing for supports here. So Dan has lost the combat. I caused 2 casualties. He only caused 1. So he needs to take a morale test. Now, because they are a large battalion, they've got a stamina of 4, so they're not shaken yet. They roll a 9, and they carry on fighting. So that's the end of the Bavarian/Swiss turn, as it's turned into. The army seems to be a Swiss army at the moment. I am doing much better with the Swiss, yeah. And I think we're going to call that the end of the game. I've only got 2 more battalions of infantry to bring on. Dan's already over the river with 2 battalions of his infantry, so he'll be able to match them man for man. He's got the river, he's got the far side of the river, he's got the bridge as well. Now, the combat for the bridge is actually not going too badly, but I am disordered, so I'm still going to be hitting on 4s. Dan's going to be hitting me back on 4s. In fact, let's roll that combat. Let's see how that goes. We're not going to worry about anything else. Let's see if the Swiss can dislodge the Austrians from the bridge. So that's, oh dear, the Austrians are a little bit angry about those casualties. So that's 4 hits on them. So, yeah, and saving on a 3+ for them. I saved them all though, blimey Charlie. Fighting back, hitting on a 4. I hit once. I do have Tough Fighter, so I hit him still once. And he saved that as well. So the battle goes a bit backwards and forwards there on the bridge. But I think realistically we can probably call it a day there. I don't think the Bavarians... So that was a great barnstorming performance there from General Dan. What I really liked about Dan there is that he lost the bridge early on. Those Bavarians stormed up the road and took the bridge. But Dan relied on his reserves. He relied on his strength of numbers. And he relied on getting there and dislodging me. So great stuff. The reason why I've thrown the towel in is because I do not have those numbers. I'm going to need to dislodge the Austrians. We look here. They've got absolutely nothing in front of them. There's nothing around here. They're going to be able to right turn in their move and then start threatening that artillery. Then they're going to start threatening that road there. Now, I could have brought the Hussars on in my turn. That maybe could have stopped them doing that, but it only would have delayed the inevitable. I don't think it would have changed the game all that much. I mean, let's do the command roll for the Hussars. Let's see if they would have come on. Actually, they would have done. No, there you go. I was expecting them not to. Yeah, I don't think the Hussars would have done too much to them, especially given that they can form their battalion mass. So, no, really, really well played by Dan there. He kept his eyes on the prize. He's kept the bridge. He's thrown me off it. So, yeah, no, really good. What could have gone better for me? I think I was hampered by my command rolls. I think another big issue for me were the sizes of my brigades. I think larger brigades would have had more troops in the area in and around the bridge, and that would have helped me out a lot more. I could have got over the bridge then, and I could have held the bank. Sorry, what's that then?
I think it was the fact that you stopped.
Okay.
If you had got across the river,
Yep.
it would have been what I could have done. So you basically allowed me to come up to you with bigger battalions,
Yep.
form line, and outfire.
Okay, no, that's fair enough. Yeah. So you think I should have been more aggressive? What is it I always say on the channel, Dan? Absolutely. So there you go, mate. So I've fallen into my own trap there. I said last weekend I thought that the Bavarians wouldn't be so good in combat, so I used that tactic here, form line, and through absolutely no prodding from me, Dan has said that was exactly my mistake. So I should have probably kept on going over the bridge, pinned Dan back in his own deployment zone, and then I could have brought my reinforcements up. If they'd have been delayed a turn or two, it wouldn't have mattered so much because Dan would have been pinned so far back. But I just want to say thank you very much for the game, Dan. That was a really, really good game. Good fun. It was nice to get the Bavarians out. Great to see Dan's Austrian army on the table, as always. And I just also want to say thank you guys very much for watching. Join us next week when it's going to be a bit of a special, when you'll see me playing World War II and the Two Fat Lardies game Chain of Command. It's going to be a bit of a channel collab, my first one, and we'll be doing that with Alex from Storm of Steel. But thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. I'll do a final flyover of the table. You can see all the corpses of my Bavarians, and they're just shocking, just shocking. How many Austrians, Dan? Like how many? That's not many, yeah, he says. Well, thank you very much, guys, and I'll catch you next time.